Shalom. I want to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone. Much love and awesome and respect to all you brothers out there doing the work in sincerity and truth, striving for the hope for elect, enduring all afflictions and seeking out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Barakatham, Akim, and Akwakim. All right, I want to go into the scripture, into some words and a few other scriptures. I'm just going back into just talking about, the flesh, the carnal state, and how it could be destructive in what you are to do when you come following Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, to do away with it and combat against it, okay, to keep yourself remaining in the spirit. So with that, let me start with Galatians chapter 5, verse 24. And they that are Yahweh Shai HaMashiach have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. Okay, so I want to go into there. And I want to look up the word crucified. Okay, so the outline of biblical usage is to stake, drive down stakes, to fortify with driven stakes, to placate, to crucify one. In the metaphor, to crucify the flesh, destroy its power utterly. The nature of the figure implying that the destruction is attended with intense pain. Okay, which we know one of the ways, which I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I'm going to make mention of it anyways. The way that we cause that intense pain is through fasting, by self-denying. That's why one thing I used to always say, and I still say to this day, you're going to have more no's than yeses when you come into the truth. Okay? People think when you come into the truth that you're still open and you have access to still living in the world. No, that's not true. You still have to deny certain things, deny certain people, because you could easily slip and fall into that mindset that everything is all good, thinking that you are something or somebody, or that you got this unlocked, but not realizing that Satan is using these things to trap his grip into you, that snare, to get you into a snare. So it's always good, it's commanded of us to be circumspect, to have a keen mind, spirit, having an attentive ear, be spiritual, using the 7 faculties of the mind, and being watchful, okay? But to crucify is to basically you're self-denying yourself. You're getting rid of all the attributes and characteristics of the flesh. You can't get rid of them in a sense. They're always going to remain there. You just have to weaken them. You have to render them powerless. And that's through, as I stated, the scriptures state, through fasting and prayer, and through exercising godliness. Okay? And how do you exercise through godliness? It's through reading, through prayer, through meditation according to the scriptures, thinking upon the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, being repetitive, reiterating, scriptures or the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, communicating, talking with brothers, okay? All that you have to do, okay? And don't get comfortable to where when you feel like you're in a strong state of mind and spirit, you still continue to do those things in moderation, because that's when Satan will come, or even your own flesh will come in that time and starts telling you, hey, you're good. You got it. You can relax a little bit right now. And, you'll find yourself in a messed up situation as the time progresses into the future. So just always stay humble and continue to crucify, those things. As I'm going to bring out a scripture to verify what Yahweh Shai said. Okay? So here at the Strong's definition, It says to impale on the cross, figuratively, to extinguish, subdue passion or selfishness, which is the ego. Okay, we all know and experience being selfish, and we know when we're doing it. Okay, and coming into the truth of being in the truth, that is to be completely cut off. We know that, we know this, and but again, we're in the flesh, and they will creep back in, and once those things creep in, you have to rebuke. Okay, you have to rebuke yourself onto fasting, and don't let it linger, because it will grow and grow until you give it its power. Okay, you have to immediately extinguish it, as it stated there, subdue passion and selfishness. Okay, um, and I'm gonna go here to the root word etymology. It says the outline of biblical usage for that is a cross, right? So you can read all that there in A, but I'm gonna jump down to B, or to the Roman numeral 2. It says an upright stake, especially one pointed on, used as such in fences or palisades. Okay, so you can also use those stakes. Once you nail them to the cross, so to speak, the passions, the lusts, the ego. You're also using those nails as a defense. Okay, to guard you up. To build a barricade, as I said, a placade. You're building a defense city around yourself, man, because now the wicked, the evil spirits and things of that nature are going to see those things as a witness that you've cleaned yourself up. You cleaned your house, you did what you had to do, and you're maintaining that. And here in the Strong's definition, it says a stake or post as set upright, that is specially a pole or cross, as an instrument of capital punishment, figuratively exposure to death, that is self-denial, by implication the atonement of Yahushua Mashiach. So it's about self-denial. The implication is that, okay, figuratively exposure to death, that is self-denial, because when you go through that pain through fasting, the flesh, it aches, it hurts. Your mind is going 100 miles an hour, full of thoughts, and it's running rapid, because it's finding ways to try to be appeased. It's trying to find a way for you to appease the flesh. Okay, and once you've overcome that, you go to sleep, you wake back up, you feel light, you feel refreshed. Okay, and it's just about discipline and self-denial. you know um chastising your own self, your spirit, your soul, through fasting, and just crucifying these things, man, because when you're a follower of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the Lord commands us that we walk and live in the spirit, not in the flesh, because they're both contrary to one another, meaning that they fight against one another. One of them wants to live fulfilling itself. Another one wants to live fulfilling the law of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Okay, so it's all about we are our worst enemy, man. Okay, we can't always point the finger at somebody, something. They were part of it. They were an instrument of the situation, that you've gotten yourself into, whatever the case may be. But it always boils down to you, because the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua gives us the power to basically control our current state, our current state, our situations, and it's all about just being, mindful, having a keen mind, paying attention, being circumspect, listening to the Spirit, not being hasty in your move and your decision making, you know. But once you start doing all those things, you're gonna find yourself in those situations, and you're gonna be blaming this, blaming that, or whatever. But really, it's ourselves, man. It's ourselves. It's the flesh, you know, and we have to combat against that by way of the scriptures. Drinking the spiritual water, the milk, the wine, the meat, the milk, okay, the bread, the spiritual, you know, the food that Yahweh Shai has supplied us here in the scriptures. All right. I'm gonna read that again. Galatians 5:24. And they, right, who are they? The elect, the followers of Yahweh Shai. And they that are Yahweh Shai Mashiach have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. Okay? So you have to crucify those things, man. So let's go to Matthew, I believe it's 16. Let me find it. Let's see here. This is Matthew chapter 16. Let's see. And 24. Then said Yahweh Shai unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Okay. So we have to remain, in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Meaning that, like, we know Yahweh Shai is alive, but he died. He died for for us to be, grant access back to his Father Yahweh, to receive salvation, spiritual gifts, his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. This mystery that a lot of people don't have, and they can't retain nor accept. So we have to remain as him. We're still on the earth. We have to remain dead to the world. We have to remain dead in Yahweh Shai, but yet we live in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai because he gave us the breath of life, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Meaning that if we're dead in Yahweh Shai, we're denying ourselves. We're denying the flesh, and we live in the spirit. Okay? But he commands us that we have to deny ourselves and take up our cross. Because we know that Yahweh Shai, when he went through that, he was in an agonizing state. He was in a fearful state, but he knew at the end of the outcome, he was going to be resurrected and be with his Father. Okay? But he knew he had to, submit himself to his Father, to his Father's will. And, that's exactly what he commands of us as well. It's the denying of ourselves, because it's a painful thing whenever you have to say no. It's like a kid. When the kid wants this, wants that, but you know what's best for them. And what do you say? No. And what happens? You see them cry, they're in pain, or whatever the case may be, however they throw a little tantrum or fit. That is painful to them to hear the word no. But a lot of guys, I'm talking about, because we're all grown. We're not, we're all grown men out here. So they can even get to the level of an infant or a toddler or an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old, whatever the case may be, just because you tell them no, or they have to say no. Okay? You can know all the breakdowns. Yeah, you can know this, that, and the third, but that doesn't mean that you can just not indulge, but that mean that you can just go and do anything, whatever you want, because you know that the Lord is with you. You're playing with fire, man. Some people, they just have to learn the hard way in order to understand exactly what I'm saying. Nor is it a bad thing to abstain from certain things. Scriptures say, "Follow not a multitude to do evil." Even if you're not there to do evil necessarily, you're still setting yourself up. Okay. But anyways, I ain't gonna get into all that right now. But it says in verse 25, "For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it." Okay. So basically denying yourself, denying your flesh, crucifying the affections and the lusts of the flesh, of the world, of the cares of the world. You do what you're supposed to do and you get out. And we always said that, and I still live by that. You get in, you get out. We always use movies as an example. We use that movie Matrix. And they went in and they got out because it was dangerous. You know, those agents were after me. Those demons, those spirits were ready. They wanted to get you. Yeah, they know you're Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, children, the sons of the Most High, but they have a job. They're out there to test you. They're out to destroy. They're not just there just to be afraid of you, you know, and just to walk away from you. No, that's not the case. They're there to test you. They're there to put you through things, and, and, and it's scary. You know what I'm saying? When you have to go through it, you know. So always be wise in the things that you do and you go into, what you read, what you hear, you know. Just be mindful of those things, and be mindful of being in the flesh, because the flesh it can be a little sneaky thing too, man. It's real tricky. It's sneaky. Verse 26, it says, "What is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works." Okay? So part of the work is also fasting, praying, you know, cutting off the flesh, mortifying, you know, crucifying the flesh, the affections and the lusts, your desires, okay? That's required of us. That's part of the works. So let's go to Matthew 17. I believe there was one in Matthew 17 I wanted to bring out. Let me see. Yeah, right here. This is Matthew chapter 17. And I'll start up. This is Matthew 17 and 14. "And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is lunatic and sore vexed. For oftentimes he falleth into the fire and oft into the water." So this man's son, you know, he had a demon on him, you know, and he was tormenting his son. His son was being destructive, violent, you know, suicidal, probably self-mutilating, okay? And it says, "And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him." Okay? So we can bring like certain issues or certain things to brothers, but a brother can only do so much, because it involves you, between you and Yahweh Shai, to get rid of those certain things, whatever it may be. Okay? So this man brought it to the disciples. They weren't able to cure his son. And then Yahweh Shai answered and said, "O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? And how long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me." And Yahweh Shai rebuked the devil, and it departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Yahweh Shai apart and said, "Why could not we cast him out?" Yahweh Shai said unto them, "Because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if you have faith as the grain of a mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit, this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting." See? But because of their unbelief, they weren't able to cast out that demon out of that man's son. So this also, we have to have faith for each other. We have to believe that a brother is gonna get out of the situation that he may be, in order for it to be fervent, effectual. To have an effectual prayer, you have to have faith, man. You have to have prayer if you're gonna see a brother recover, or something like, things of that nature. The Lord also requires that of us, to have faith in one another, and seeing that we apply ourselves towards one another in that sense. But in the same token, we have to do our own part by prayer and fasting. Okay? And let's go to, I'll just bring it out right here, Matthew 26. Let's see. So like, give me 1 second, man. Let me find it. This is Matthew 26:41. It says, "Watch and pray that you enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Okay. So again, Yahweh Shai is telling us that the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. You know. So we have to watch and pray, man. We have to watch and pray. Crucify these things. You know, these things that are contrary to us, contrary to the spirit, right? In order to maintain and to remain, you know, steadfast, upright in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, in this truth. Okay. And let me see if I had another one. Let me get this last scripture, Isaiah 58. It's Isaiah 58:5. It says, "Is it such a fast that I have chosen, a day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his neck as a bulrush, and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Wilt thou call this a fast and an acceptable day to the Lord? Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? Is it not to deal is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to the house? When thou seest the naked, and thou cover him, and thou shalt hide not thyself from thy own flesh. Um, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy rewarder." Right. So the fasting, the Lord has chosen that as a way of breaking, loosening the bands of wickedness. Okay, to undo the heavy burden, to let go of the oppressed, go free. You know, breaking. Um, seeing a brother, he may be in a tight situation, and which we all have accounts of that. They were able to get out of legal situations and be able to, get out. And that's through, through their own fasting and praying. And other brothers may have been doing the fasting and praying and having that faith that the brother is recovered, that he recovers. You know, that's what that the Lord has given us, these things, these tools to do these things, to get out of these situations. As it said in verse 8, "Then shall thy light break forth as the morning." Because, one of the chapters I've been reading a lot, and, Lord, when I'll be able to do, go into it and do a video on, is Lamentations chapter 3, man, because it talks about being set in darkness and not light, and how it was like the Yahweh Shai were against Israel, or each individual that was going through those things during the time of the Babylonian captivity. The destruction to the captivity, So it says in verse 8, "Then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee." Basically you recovered. It's like when you have a fever, you're down, and then we start sweating a lot, you break your fever, and you're back to full health. Your fever broke, and you're able to see things differently. Everything just feels different. You feel refreshed because you broke your fever. Okay, you got over that sickness. It says, "And the glory of Yahweh shall be die rewarded, or reward. Okay? So yeah, Yahweh Shai has given us the answers on how to combat against these things, and it's by way of crucifying the flesh, because those that follow Yahweh Shai have done those things and doing those things. Meaning it's a constant battle, it's a constant work, because we know that the flesh is constantly working, the mind is constantly working. So that means that we have to constantly work against, you know, constantly work continuously. So with that, I hope it was edifying. Um, your brothers out there, y'all stay strong, keep pushing, you know. Uh, and all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Shai. So with that, Shalom.